The Button, DC Rebirth's second event consisting of 4 parts, following and picking up after the events of the Rebirth in the DC universe. If you don't quite remember, in Rebirth, Batman finds the comedian's pin submerged within the Batcave, creating a connection between the DC universe and the Watchmen universe. Now that the event has reached a conclusion, in this video we'll be recapping everything that happened within the event to keep you up to speed with what's happening within the newly retconned DC universe. Batman issue 21 is where the event begins. It begins with Batman watching a hockey game, the Gotham Blades versus the Metropolis Mammoths. He's also began to start analysing the comedian's pin, studying it. Batman places the pin on the desk, but as he turns around, it reacts with the mask of Psycho Pirate, a foe which Batman has previously taken down earlier in his run in Rebirth. Flash. A hallucination. Bruce finds himself shocked, stunned. He awakens and, standing in front of him, his father, Thomas Wayne, from the Flashpoint timeline. They reach out for each other, but Thomas fades out of existence. As Batman snaps back into reality, he realises he can't crack its mystery on his own, so he needs his fellow forensic scientist, Barry Allen, also known as the Flash, to help him solve it alongside him. Little does he know that he's currently in another time period fighting off samuroid invasion things. Batman asks how long, and he says he'll be there in 1 minute. A second passes and Batman suspects that the Flash is actually early for once, but it's quite the reverse, actually. Behind him, Eobard Thawne emerges, giving Bruce a strong, fast right hand. The Reverse Flash has returned. Now, just for some contextualisation here, Eobard Thawne was killed at the end of the Flashpoint event in the DC universe, where Barry Allen ran back in time to save his mother, therefore changing the timeline as we know it. With many questions, Eobard Thawne claims that a power, it woke me, it called out for me. Batman lunges for Thawne but goes straight through his body as his molecules vibrate at an incredible speed. Thawne smiles and demands Batman to try again, in which he does. Batman and Reverse Flash engage in combat, hard-knuckled fist on fist fighting, where Thawne lands multiple hits on Batman. Blood flies everywhere. A pause erupts. Thawne notices a letter. The same letter that Thomas Wayne wrote to Bruce in the conclusion of the Flashpoint paradox. It had everything Thomas Wayne wanted to say to his son written on a piece of paper. Batman's most prized possession is in the hands of the one who his father killed all those years ago. Menacingly exacting revenge, Thawne rips the letter into pieces and lets the paper flow freely. Batman is pissed. "Get out of my cave," he mutters. He grabs a batarang and sticks it into the Reverse Flash's foot, disabling his molecular instability for the time being. Batman punches. He gets a couple of hits on Thawne, throwing him off guard, but it isn't enough. Thawne claps, sending Batman flying into the Batcomputer. "You can't win," Reverse Flash shouts to Bruce. "I know, but I don't need to win. I just need 11 seconds. Thawne punches and punches. He inevitably beats Batman to the brink of death and into unconsciousness. He is intrigued, however. What was this power? And where did it come from? He picks up the comedian's pin, but he disappears within the blink of an eye. Time passes, second by second. Then Thawne re-emerges. He's burning alive. God, I saw God. He disintegrates into nothing but spandex and bone. As Thawne collapses, Flash arrives. Late, of course. The event picks up in The Flash issue 21. Part 1 was more fast paced after the suspense of the hockey game was built up, but the second part takes a step back and takes a slower pace. It begins when Barry Allen is investigating, or at least trying to do his best to. He feels happy that Thawne is finally dead and that his suffering is finally over, but he's curious. If anybody could kill Thawne, there's no telling how much power they possess. The Flash asks Alfred of any evidence to back up the scene. Thawne's lightning unfortunately fried the surveillance cameras in the Batcave, but there's still one witness. Bruce lies in bed. He's badly injured. Bruises, cuts and bandages engulf his entire body as a result of Thawne's rage. "So Thawne saw God?" Barry asked. "With a capital G," Bruce replies. The two try finding results, discussing how they could possibly get to the bottom of the Reverse Flash's untimely death. No pun intended. But Batman raises his encounter with a ghost, his father. He was wearing a cowl and bout suit similar to mine, but I could just tell it was him. His voice, it was him, Barry. Barry remembers Thomas immediately. This is my fault, Bruce. If I didn't go back in time to save my mother, this would have never have happened. That left us vulnerable to all of this. Bruce reassures Barry that this isn't his fault. There must be something missing that they're not picking up, someone who was messing with time before the Flashpoint ever occurred. But there's still one piece of evidence left unchecked. The button, the one that Barry remembered on the night of Wally's return, a callback to the events of the rebirth of the DC universe. It never returned with Thorn, meaning it must be lost within time somewhere. Since Wally's return, Barry has had a few visions himself, possibly from the button. One was of Thorn, but the other was the helmet of Mercury, the helmet of predecessor speedster Jay Garrick. Barry speeds out of the room, eager to find more evidence. I'll let you know if I find anything else. He winds up in the Justice League watchtower, suspended on the atmosphere of the Earth. That's when he remembers that Wally told him of a powerful presence that was waiting to attack. The only way to get to the bottom of this is to take the trip alone, without risking Wally's wife again by taking him alongside through time. Barry removes the covers of the cosmic treadmill. He can follow the radiation of the button this way. A voice. You think you'd be going alone? Batman appears, suited up but still severely injured. Barry is reluctant to let him come. The time travel experience is nothing like what Bruce has ever been before, but Batman shrugs it off and demands Barry to take them through the time realm. We're wasting time, Barry. And with that being said, Barry steps on the treadmill. The Flash runs fast. The cosmic treadmill follows the radiation of the button, but visions appear of alternate realities. No, Bruce, these aren't alternate realities. Wally had told me that many years were taken from us. These events are happening in our universe. Batman is shocked as he relives the death of Barry as he disintegrates. He's seeing the events of Crisis of Infinite Earths yet again. Barry ignores it. They have to find the button. He runs faster. The treadmill malfunctions. Barry and Bruce stumble and they are holding on by a fingertip. They fly into a large beam of light, disappearing and winding up in a cave. Batman recognises this place. It's a Batcave. Barry recognises it too. Oh no. This is bad. He recognises the shock that Bruce could experience in the next few moments from now. Bruce, you need to listen to me. But it's too late. Bruce notices a family photo of the Wayne family. Then a gun. The same gun that killed his father and mother. Or in this case, him. He turns around. There he is. His father. Left on that massive cliffhanger, the next part of the button came out a week later in Batman issue 22, opening with a recap of the Flashpoint timeline and everything that was happening and how it was created. Thomas states that he learned that this timeline is nothing but a lie caused by Barry Allen. His actions caused reverberations of the closest lives to Barry. Atlantis and Themyscira are at war, but one thing they've had a mutual agreement upon is that Batman, the Thomas Wayne version, needs to be killed. We cut straight back to where the Flash issue 21 left off. Thomas thinks this is some sort of joke, a sick prank. Thomas takes his anger out on Barry. This isn't real! But Barry explains, the timeline has somehow been repaired since it was obliterated all those years ago, and it's been repaired for months now. Someone, maybe Thorn, has kept the timeline alive, but the group are confused. This is their home. This isn't an alternate universe, but rather an alternate history on their world that shouldn't exist anymore. That's why they saw the visions from the button. Riddled with shock, Bruce tries to keep a distance from his father, understandably, and Barry needs to repair the cosmic treadmill to get back on track, but they better make it quick. Coming down the Batcave from Wayne Manor's main hall, Atlanteans and Themyscirans form a stampede of angry warriors, and they're coming for Thomas. Thomas arms his pistol, preparing to hold them off while Barry and Bruce find a way out of the timeline, but Bruce throws a batarang at his gun, knocking it out of his hand. We're all leaving together. While making reference to the letter which was written in the Flashpoint event, Bruce still has so many questions to ask his father, but they'll have to wait for now. There's a much bigger problem on their hands. And then a massive brawl breaks out in the Batcave. Thomas and Bruce fight off the army of two tyrants of the Flashpoint timeline, the father and the son, finally together, doing what they do best, the perfect fan service, all while Barry Allen rapidly tries to repair the cosmic treadmill, in which he does. Good as new. The Atlanteans and Themyscirians are finally defeated. Bruce, as he said before, has a lot of questions. Thomas reminisces on the time where he rescued Bruce from this very cave. Do you remember what I said to you? Thomas asks. But Bruce says, no, I didn't hear you because you didn't want to scare the bats. The Flash is ready to go, but as he says that, the timeline begins to disintegrate again. Whoever was holding it together just let go of it. We have to go now, he shouts. But Bruce still has something to tell his father. You're a grandfather, Dad. I have a son. Referring to his son Damian Wayne, the current Robin. Father, come with me, please. But Thomas turns around, pushing Bruce onto the treadmill alongside Barry. No! Even Barry wants Thomas to come with them, but gracefully Thomas says that Bruce was his world, his greatest gift, then tells him, don't be Batman. Be a father to your son in a way that I couldn't be for you. Let the Batman die with me. Bruce is emotionally breaking down, at this point begging his father to join them, but it's too late. Thomas's mind is made up, and Batman and Flash disappear on the treadmill. A flashback to when Bruce fell down the cave appears in the panels of the comic. Sometimes we fall, son, but us Waynes never stay down. We rise, he shouts, as he runs into a panel of lights. The Flashpoint timeline is yet again erased from existence. Still, so many unanswered questions, but this time they're about the button. The button came to Batman's cave, but brought him to his father. Why? I don't know, Bruce, the Flash responds. Wally told me there was someone who was stealing time to hurt us, but as they're running through time, a familiar foe approaches from behind. It's the Reverse Flash, and within his grasp, the button. It all makes sense now. This is Thorn just before he died. If you carry on running, you'll die, Barry shouts to Thorn, but Thorn ignores them. You have no idea of the places I've been, the people I've seen, Alan. I know who the button belongs to, and they have nothing on me. Now, the finale. The Flash, issue 22. The comic picks up exactly where the previous part of the event left off. Barry shouts to the earbud Thorn of the past, the one who has the button in his grasp, warning him of the dangers that lie ahead. See, we've seen the outcome of these events though. Thorn inevitably dies after seeing God being burnt to the crisp and becoming nothing but a motionless corpse. But Thorn shrugs these threats off. Oh, what, like the time you broke my neck? He shouts to Barry. The time where you saw Bruce's father slice a sword through my back? These are empty threats to a living paradox, Barry. There's no future nor past until I decide to put it back together. A voice then erupts. Bruce warns Barry of this. Don't listen to them, he replies. The voices you're hearing are events that could have been, but never came to fluctuation. But Batman saw his father, and that wasn't just a vision. That was real. Suddenly, the cosmic treadmill begins to malfunction again. We need to catch up to Thorn, stop him from dying, Barry shouts. But as they look ahead, Thorn is where he needs to be. Barry, once again, is late. According to the Reverse Flash, Barry's life is about to be undone, or at least that's what he thinks. He's overwhelmed by such power, but blind to the reality that lies forth. He speeds forward at an incredible pace, clearing Barry and Bruce by miles. And then he arrives. Thorn rests on one leg, praising this godlike presence, but selfishness and self-righteousness quickly becomes part of Thorn's ego once again. I cannot be erased. By you, by anyone. Beginning to assert his ideology of dominance, he then asks his presence to show themselves, in which it does, but not in a positive manner, nor in a way that Thorn anticipated. Thorn looks up in shock, then awe, and then complete fear. The unknown force eases its way towards the Reverse Flash. Even with Thorn's speed, he cannot escape the indescribable power which approaches him. And as we all know, Thorn begins to disintegrate into bone and flesh, exactly how he does in the Batcave, and the button flies out of his grasp upwards. From a distance, Bruce and Barry hear Thorne's excruciating screams. This is when they know that Thorne is gone, yet again. But the voice which called out for them earlier continues to call out, for Barry this time. He's unsure, but Bruce insists him to grab onto the voice. With the treadmill breaking down, they have no other choice. They have no way back to their history otherwise. Maybe this voice could help them. Barry and Bruce grab onto the voice, both together. Jay? And then a shock return. Emerging free, Jay Garrick, the first of the Scarlet Speedsters, jumps onto the cosmic treadmill. The visions that Barry had of the Helmet of Mercury were influenced by reality, much like the visions Bruce had of his father, and were a reflection of these alternate histories and timelines which none of these characters remember. Now, for some knowledge as to why Jay Garrick was missing in the first place, one of the side effects of the New 52, which relaunched the DC Universe after the events of the Flashpoint, the Justice Society's heroes were lost. His return truly must be fueled by the alternate timelines in which Barry and Bruce saw in the time realm, the ones in which they don't remember. But as Jay Garrick emerges from obscurity, he strikes a heroic pose, but he immediately resorts to an episode of immense pain. Power enough to get you home. Jay Garrick's additional energy, in which the cosmic treadmill had desperately needed, helped Bruce and Barry return to the Batcave, where Thorne's motionless corpse rests, just as it all started. But much like how he barely remembered Wally West in DC Rebirth issue 1, now that he's back in the timeline of this rebirth, Barry has no clue as to who he's just seen. Garrick has been trapped within the time stream. He still remembers everyone and everything from his society, but Barry doesn't. Confused, Barry quickly makes the natural assumption that it was Jay who took Thorne's life and was this indestructible force, but this is clearly not the case. Jay mutters in pain, "I didn't kill anyone, Barry. My name is Jay Garrick. I'm your friend. A Flash. You need to remember me, just like you remembered Wally." But as he says that, he begins to be sucked back into the time stream. Barry hasn't got a chance to reminisce and remember. He grabs his hand, but somehow Jay is taken by a huge blue lightning strike and disappears into obscurity. It's likely that he came from a timeline that never existed, referring to the side effects of the New 52, much like the disappearance of the Flashpoint timeline and Thomas Wayne, but the mystery remains unclear to the characters, and even to us as the readers. The panels of the comic cut forward to the next day, where Bruce and Barry visit the graves of the elder Waynes. They discuss the case, and the button. Barry tells Bruce that there's nobody else to chase, nothing to work with. There's no way this case can move onwards, but Bruce is adamant that the case be continued. It's far from closed, he tells Barry. For now, God is all we have to go on. What we experienced was no accident, Barry. I was reunited with my father, only to be taken away from him yet again. And moments later, you lost a fellow Flash who referred to you as a friend. I don't know, Barry. There's just no chance this is a coincidence. We are then propelled into outer space. The button rests on a shiny surface, remaining still. A long pause occurs, and then an ominous blue hand picks it up. He fiddles with the button using his bright fingertips, and then reciting the famous lines from the Watchmen trade paperback. Everything is preordained, even my responses. We're all puppets, Laurie. I'm just a puppet who can see the strings. Dr. Manhattan. Now the button is floating in space. The red bloodstains on the button engulf the panels of the final pages of this comic, and then zoom back out to reveal a very familiar red symbol. The same symbol which represents hope. The very hope that the DC Universe may need. And what a fantastic way to end the event that is the button. It was absolutely fantastic. It really gave me a chance to get back into comics. This sort of event is what DC Comics really should have been. It was great that the Watchmen are now converging in with the DC Universe. Because after the Watchmen graphic novel and of course the film, the Watchmen were almost like a wasted opportunity in my sense. It was great. Great story, great world, great characters. It would have been nice to chuck it into mainstream comics. And that's exactly what DC have done, and I can only praise them and commend them for that because it's a really good decision. The next DC Rebirth event is obviously going to be Doomsday Clock, where Jeff Johns will be reprising his role as the writer. Can't wait. it's going to follow exactly after the events of the button, and because of the spectacle and the quality of this event, I can't wait for the next one, especially with Jeff Johns at the helm. But thanks for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more content in the near future, and comment below, what did you think of the button? Have you read it yet, and what were your final opinions on it? Let me know, I'm interested. I really loved it. I just want to see if there's any contrasting opinions to mine. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.